This is 9 and 10 News at 6.
My husband and I are eternally grateful to everyone who put themselves in harm's way to keep our family safe.
Guns, bombs, and social media. Tonight, 13 men are charged with coming up with a violent plan to kidnap the governor, attack police, and overthrow parts of the government. Police called it an elaborate plan from members of a Michigan-based militia, and part of the massive police operation brought federal agents to northern Michigan.
Now, we brought you live to one of the FBI raids near Cadillac last night, and as soon as word of the plot came down this morning, we fanned our crews out across the region. David Leiden is live in Antrim County with where the investigation stands now. Madison Schlegel is in Elk Rapids, where much of the plot was set to take place. Christine Canerva is live in Luther, where the extremists are said to have trained. And Eric Lloyd is in Lansing talking to shocked lawmakers about the plot. And just hours ago, Governor Whitmer took time to address the state and express her gratitude to the FBI, state police, and the Michigan Attorney General. She says she never thought she'd have to speak about something like this as governor.
I knew this job would be hard, but I'll be honest, I never could have imagined anything like this. I want to start by saying thank you to our law enforcement. Thank you to the fearless FBI agents. And thank you to the brave Michigan State Police troopers who participated in this operation. I also want to thank Attorney General Nessel and the U.S. Attorneys Burge and Schneider and their teams for pursuing criminal charges that hopefully will lead to convictions, bringing these sick and depraved men to justice.
While there is nothing in the court documents to suggest the men were inspired by President Trump, Governor Whitmer said the extremists heard the president's words as a call to action. Now, the kidnapping plot eventually came to center on the governor's vacation home in Antrim County.
Now, 3 of the 13 suspects are facing terrorism charges in Antrim County. Eric Molitor, Michael Null, and William Null are facing charges in northern Michigan. And court documents paint Adam Fox as a kind of ringleader for the operation. At 5, we told you how investigators say this group came to zero in on the governor's vacation home. 9 and 10's David Leiden begins our team coverage in Antrim County with a live report on what court documents say happened next in the plot against Governor Whitmer. David.
Kevin and Courtney, good evening. We are outside of the Antrim County Courthouse where this morning 3 men were charged for what the Attorney General says was their role in a serious and credible plot to kidnap and possibly kill the governor.
All of us standing here today want the public to know that federal and state law enforcement are committed to working together to make sure violent extremists never succeed with their plans.
Investigators say on August 18th, the group known as Wolverine Watchmen, which included these 3 men charged in Antrim County today, discussed doing surveillance of the governor's vacation home as part of their plan to kidnap her.
The federal complaint in this case alleges that the FBI began an investigation earlier this year after becoming aware that through social media that a group of individuals was discussing the violent overthrow of certain government and law enforcement components.
Documents say one member of the group named the Antrim County lake the governor's summer home is on and said they were looking for an escape route using a boat on that lake.
Our efforts uncovered elaborate plans to endanger the lives of law enforcement officers, government officials, and the broader public.
It was on August 26th the feds say preparation ramped up. The group decided to spend $4,000 on helmets and night vision goggles.
The alleged conspirators used operational security measures, including communicating by encrypted messaging platforms, and used code words and phrases in an attempt to avoid detection by law enforcement.
Now, those court documents go on to outline how investigators believe this surveillance began here in Antrim County. It also details a plot that's believed to have been hatched to blow up a bridge near the governor's home. We're going to bring you that part of the story tonight at 10 and 11. For now, we are live in Bel Air. David Leiden, 9 and 10 News.
David, thank you. The year has been a heated and often unfriendly one between Governor Whitmer and the state legislature, but lawmakers, they were appalled by the plot unfurled today. 9 and 10's Eric Lloyd continues our team coverage live from the Capitol with their reaction.
Yeah, Kevin, part of the plot was actually to gather about 200 men and storm the Capitol building here in Lansing, do damage, and grab Governor Whitmer here. But she actually doesn't really work here very often, but who does is our lawmakers, and they have been reacting to the news all day.
They're terrorists. These are not people that are abiding by, obviously, any laws.
The state Senate was in session as news of this kidnapping plot broke. A day once focused on COVID relief shifted abruptly.
It's a sad place we are in the country where this actually happens. This obviously shows in many ways we've come too far. We have to stop dehumanizing people.
Every lawmaker came to similar conclusions.
It's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. This is truly terrorists that aren't in their right mind, and they need to be prosecuted.
The thoughts were echoed by Republican leaders. Speaker of the House Lee Chatfield tweeted, "Violence has no place in politics, and the people who targeted Governor Whitmer and police officers are un-American." Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey shared those sentiments.
These people are not patriots. There is no honor in their actions. They are criminals and traitors.
Others looked inward and took this as an eye-opening moment.
It should give all of us pause of some of the rhetoric that's used. I've heard in this body the governor called a tyrant. Most people will hear those things and not do irrational things, but some will.
Now, firearms are allowed inside the Capitol. The Capitol Commission has taken up that issue in the past and decided not to change the rules, but have come out today and said they will reassess the situation following today's news. Live in Lansing, Eric Lloyd, 9 and 10 News.
Thank you, Eric. FBI helicopters were seen flying over Cadillac and Luther last night as part of the investigation into the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. 9 and 10's Christine Canerva is live at the Michigan State Police Post in Cadillac with more on the investigation. Christine.
Courtney, we talked to people in Luther who said the FBI had a helicopter circling the property next to theirs for hours last night.
The helicopter was flying right through there and circled around behind us on our property, back towards the road behind us.
Cliff Demos in Luther said he never expected something like this to happen here.
Not at all. Not in a million years did I think that. But I have heard from certain people, different people, that there is a militia that is in this area and that sometimes they do practice here.
An attempt to kidnap the governor, the FBI says the group used properties in Luther and Cadillac as meeting places to conduct tactical exercises. The report says the group constructed IEDs on the property and would set them in a clearing surrounded by human silhouette targets.
Because we are so rural, they were training, and I think somehow they got wind of it some way through different contacts and decided this was the area, and that's what they were checking for.
Cliff's wife Bonnie says she was scared when helicopters were circling their property. She says the division in the state and country that may have sparked all of this has to stop.
I don't like hatred towards anybody, not towards Donald Trump, not towards Governor Whitmer. I just don't like hatred.
Lake County Sheriff Rich Martin says we're in the preliminary stages of what's actually going on.
I think people are frustrated with certain things that are going on, and it's on both sides, but we all have to use some common sense and work collectively together. And I think the biggest problem that we have is that we're always against each other.
3 of the members were arrested on a property here in Cadillac. Up in Elk Rapids, people are learning that the plot against Governor Whitmer focused on their town. 9 and 10's Madison Schlegel is live there with reaction.
Yes, I am still here in downtown Elk Rapids, and earlier today we were able to speak with Wildflower Soap Works, which is just up the street. And when employees found out about the plan to kidnap Governor Whitmer right here in town, they said for them it felt a little personal. Back when Governor Whitmer was inaugurated, she had purchased soaps for their gift baskets, and they have formed a relationship ever since. The employees here say that because of this, they know that Governor Whitmer wants to show her support for local businesses. They say that over the last few months, Governor Whitmer has had to make some tough calls for the state, but that does not justify this type of planned operation.
No one's happy about it, but this is just an insanely drastic measure to display your dissatisfaction. It just seems really shocking that there would be people that would turn on her in that way.
Everyone that we spoke to today had one similar reaction, and shock was the first word that was thrown around. We also were able to speak with the Antrim County Sheriff about their role in this investigation. We'll have more from them tonight. Live in Elk Rapids, Madison Schlegel, 9 and 10 News.
Thank you, Madison. There is so much going on with the story. here is the bottom line.
We broke it down into two parts for you, just how far this group got with their plans and the size of the police operation to take them down. Let's begin with who is involved. 13 people are accused of plotting to kidnap the governor. The militia group is called the Wolverine Watchmen. Court documents show they recruited members on social media as far back as November of 2019. The plan also included killing police and overthrowing parts of the government, even storming the Capitol building. The group charged in the plot first met in June and seemed to be upset with the governor's coronavirus response. Court documents show the group trained with guns in Luther, successfully tested an improvised explosive device, and later even surveilled the governor's vacation home in Elk Rapids. They plan to kidnap her before the November election.
The FBI became aware of the group's plans to violently overthrow certain governments early this year. They later sent undercover agents into the extremist meetings. That culminated yesterday with this. These are all of the locations involved with the police operation to foil the plot. Hundreds of state police officers, FBI agents were involved in this, and no one was hurt while executing the arrests. Police say this is an ongoing investigation. And with that, Northern Michigan's news leader will be closely following any developments in this case.
Of course, we will have continuing coverage at 11. And remember, you can always find the latest on 9and10news.com.
So you have the right to remain silent.
A murder suspect charged in connection to the death of a missing Gaylord man. Gary Pickfett Jr. was shot in the head and found in a ditch in Antrim County Tuesday. State police arrested Jacob Holford in Wexford County. He is now charged with open murder. Last night, troopers told us this arrest was connected to the FBI raids in the area. However, that is not the case. 9 and 10's Chloe Keipel has more details about the investigation.
Holford told investigators that Pickford Jr. was driving around in the car with him when he asked to get out and apparently ran into the woods. And that was the last time he was seen.
But at this point, we do know at some point on Tucker Road in Antrim County is when Mr. Holford allegedly shot Mr. Pickfett in the back of the head and then fled the state. He was shot in the back of the head, and he was left at that location.
Yesterday, Michigan State Police searched the area using K-9 units, drones, and metal detectors. Sometime this week, investigators say Holford returned to Michigan and was arrested in Wexford County.
Our understanding is he was in Tennessee, and detectives had been in contact with him on the phone and were arranging for him to come back to Michigan so he could turn himself in.
Investigators are still trying to figure out his motive and what exactly happened.
Still working on the investigation as far as what actually occurred, why they were together. We're still working. It's an open investigation.
A judge has issued a $500,000 cash bond for Jacob Holford. In Antrim County, Chloe Keipel, 9 and 10 News.
Michigan added nearly 1,200 new coronavirus cases today. Michigan is still among the top 20 states in the U.S. with the most cases.
The state is still seeing an increase in cases in the Upper Peninsula and down towards the state border. It brings total cases to more than 132,000. 22 more deaths were also reported today, but 20 of those were not actually from the last 24 hours, but just found during a recent records review.
Our health departments have played a critical role in the fight against COVID-19, and that is on top of their other duties. We spoke with the Health Department of Northwest Michigan on how they are handling things. They say at first during the stay-at-home order, many non-COVID-19 related services were suspended. They have since ramped back up their other duties like environmental services, immunizations, and food services.
We've brought on extra staff. We've asked more of our staff. We've sought grant funding throughout all of this to support that extra staffing capacity, and we just continue to strive every day to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the community.
Peacock says they remain committed to all areas of public health.
And today we had some gusty winds, some decent temperatures back in the 50s and 60s, but the winds are calming, but they'll pick up tomorrow, bringing with them a lot of warmth. I'll have your forecast next.
A special day in Mackinac County, why the community came together to celebrate their sheriff. Coming up on 9 and 10 News at 6.
Plus, when hunters can head back to Power Island. Still ahead in the Hook and Hunting Report.
Now, Northern Michigan's most accurate and reliable forecast. From the Doppler 9 and 10 weather team.
Let's talk about some color. Northern Michigan, Mount Pleasant looking beautiful right now, and you know it's popping up all across our inland locations, especially in the UP. Western sections are looking at past peak conditions right now, beautiful around the UP. Now, northern lower, we knew there's a bit of change going on, certainly, but this weekend, yeah, head up there, looking beautiful. Head southward, inland areas, Gaylord, Grayling, Houghton Lake, Cadillac, Everett, Reed City. You get the idea. Near peak to peak conditions, and there are certainly pockets of past peak here and there, but it's really nice right now all across this area. But lakeside, you find a bit of yellow. Yeah, lots of green still towards like the tunneled trees, Traverse City, towards Manistee and Ludington. That's the general trend, at least for now, but that'll be changing quickly over the next couple of weeks. Here's your forecast overnight. Not much going on. Fairly clear, just a couple of high, thin stuff right here, and that's tomorrow morning. Now look down here. We have the winds picking up out of the southwest, and they'll be strong throughout the day. That's 5 p.m. Still strong tomorrow evening for Friday Night Football. And then you notice a wind shift into Saturday, bringing down some cooler air, but nothing super cold. And in fact, there's a fair amount of sunshine out there as well. So here's a different perspective in terms of winds. This is tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Watch the winds ramp up throughout the day. And then tomorrow evening around football time, wind gusts here 20 to 30 miles per hour. Then they make a shift overnight, pulling in that cooler air. Temperatures right now, pretty comfortable, not too far off of normal. I mean, you got 50s, a couple 60s out there too. And right now in Everett, your temperature 59, looking good. Winds have calmed down here at only 4 miles per hour. Your nighttime lows, 34 to 43 degrees. Winds do calm down and just a couple patchy clouds. How about tomorrow's forecast? Well, there you go. In the UP, a bit more clouds at times, maybe a sprinkle. I would not worry about it. Your highs, low to mid 60s, looking beautiful there. Onaway 66. The farther south you go, you got the winds, but you got the warmth too. Your highs 60s to low 70s, and central lower, we're talking low to mid 70s. Just a gorgeous day, but with the winds, those trees that are a bit more towards peak, past peak, might be a bit dropping a lot more leaves because those gusty winds. Now the winds shift on Saturday, but it does cool down just a little bit. Not much. You can get out and enjoy it. Sunday, same thing. Great for checking out the leaves, going out the pumpkin patch, getting some cider out there, looking good. Monday, some afternoon showers building through. Tuesday, we dry up and back to a little wet weather for your Wednesday. But like I said, the weekend and tomorrow looking awfully nice. So just watch out for the winds. They will be strong at times.
A Northern Michigan sheriff named Sheriff of the Year. What he had to say about the honor, next at 6. A special day in Mackinac County today. One Northern Michigan sheriff received a big honor. Mackinac County Sheriff Scott Strait was named Sheriff of the Year by the Michigan Sheriff's Association. Sheriffs from across the state came to honor Sheriff Strait. Earlier this year, he announced he'll retire at the end of the year after over 30 years of service.
I can't think of anything better to end my career in law enforcement as a sheriff #1, which is an honor in itself, but then to have the rest of the sheriffs of the state decide that I'm worthy of an award of this magnitude is just fantastic. I can't tell you how humbling it is to know that people appreciate what you do every day.
The sheriff also took the moment to share the spotlight and recognize some of his deputies for their service.
Good news for bow hunters. You can hunt deer on Power Island this year. What you need to know before you head out next in the Hook and Hunting Report.
Power Island is back open for hunters to help control the deer population on the Grand Traverse County Island. The County Parks and Recreation Department says they are opening the island for bow hunting to control the deer population by recommendation from the DNR. They say there isn't enough vegetation on the island, so they open it up to hunters to prevent the deer from starving. Hunters will still need proper licensing and a boat to get to the island. And the island will be open from now for bow hunting to November 14th, and then it reopens back on December 1st to January 1st. And our buck of the week comes from Taylor Monette out of Mecosta County. The 16-year-old shot this 8-point buck on opening youth hunt day. Show off your successful hunt by uploading the pictures to our virtual buck poll. You can find it under the community tab on 910news.com. Elk Rapids and Boyne City competing in their season finales tonight in boys soccer. And we have a live look at the game next in sports.
When Northern Michigan looks for champions, it looks to My Sports Now.
The top two teams in the Lake Michigan Conference, Elk Rapids and Boyne City, competing right now on our live stream on View It and MySportsNow.com. It's also a rematch of last year's district final where Elk Rapids won that game. It is currently 2-0 Elk Rapids late in the second half. Boyne City hoping to tie it up. You can head to View It or watch more of the game. We'll also have the highlights tonight on Sports Extra. In just 8 days, we will provide another chance to watch high school football on TV and online with play-by-play from WMOM. Ludington and Manistee will play in their longtime rivalry game on Friday, October 16th. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. That first half of the game will be on Local 32 before returning the program, and then the full second half will be streamed on View It and MySportsNow.com for free. One of the best women's basketball players in Mid-American Conference history, Raina Frost, rejoins CMU as their Director of Player Development. Frost is the conference's all-time leader in rebounding and is the only player in program history to record 1,500 points and rebounds in a career. She will help the coaching staff during meetings, practices, and games. Sault Ste. Marie is hosting a tri-meet tonight in volleyball. We'll have those highlights along with the Boyne City Elk Rapids highlights on Sports Extra.
For the next couple days, the winds will be whipping at times, but pulling in the heat tomorrow. 60s to middle 70s, looking really nice. Still breezy on Saturday, a little bit cooler, but that weekend is looking fantastic. Check out the fall colors. And by next week, a little wet weather, but not too much cold air. More 60s in that forecast.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tom, and thank you for joining us.
The CBS Evening News is next. Have a great night.
Access 9 and 10 news anytime, anywhere. Watch live on View It or listen on enabled devices. Get the Doppler 9 and 10 weather app, plus the best in local sports on the My Sports Now app. 9 and 10 News, Northern Michigan's news leader.